it seems like not just because of these like quick and many releases of new models, but in a lot of the conversations some of the leaders of the companies are having, that everybody feels like we're getting a whole lot closer to AGI, that it might just not be very far off. In fact, you hear people say maybe even later this year, if not, and if not that, then probably next year that we will have artificial general intelligence. So let me pause for a minute so you can like remind us what that means. And I know not everybody likes that term, including Dario Amodei. But what is it that we're picking up on about how close we're getting to AGI and whether we're preparing for it appropriately?
Yeah, so I think that there are all different kinds of definitions as to what this is and when we'll know that we're there. I think of it as the point at which AI systems become as capable, if not more capable, than the smartest human beings across all fields, and can essentially do anything cognitively that we're able to do now. And then, of course, like ASI is artificial super intelligence when it exceeds our intelligence. But I just have had and what do they call it? Like vibe coding in the AI community. I've had like this vibe absorption of these conversations I'm hearing in different places from the hard fork interview that you mentioned with Dario Amodei. They talked about the AI conference in Europe in February, and sort of critiqued a lot of the commentary happening at that conference as not sufficiently recognizing that the AGI is on its way and focused almost entirely on opportunities and liberalization of model development and accelerationism. And sort of in that conversation, the upshot, I think, was that people aren't really comprehending what AGI will mean for all of society. And it's not that we don't look for the opportunities, it's just we also really need to start wrapping our heads around what that means. And then just this morning before we recorded, the New York Times released a new podcast interview that Ezra Klein did with Ben Buchanan, who was the AI advisor in the Biden administration. And they similarly were sort of talking about these powerful AGI models that are on the way and what it means when they get here. And I think Ezra Klein's position was that we're just not at all prepared or really having sophisticated and creative enough conversations beyond like there will be job loss and we'll have universal basic income or jobs will be lost and new ones will be created. That's what always happens. But really, like, what does the future look like? And it tracked a conversation I had with my friend Trish, to whom I am constantly talking about AI, and she constantly does not want to hear about it. And finally, she said to me, "Okay, you keep telling me that these powerful systems are already here, that they are going to impact learning and work. But what does that actually mean for me as a citizen of Earth? Like, how should I actually prepare for what's coming ahead?" And it was such a great question to me because I don't think I've put enough thought into as much as I think about it. Like, what does it actually mean? So, of course, I did what I always do. I went to the models and I asked them sort of as a citizen of Earth, how should I be preparing for the arrival of AGI? And I thought it was interesting because I asked Claude and ChatGPT, and we talked about personality difference. And I feel like the tone of the outputs was different. So Claude said preparing for the potential emergence of AGI in the next couple of years is a very thoughtful consideration. Here are some practical approaches. And it gave me, 20 or so. But some of them that it included were strengthen creative thinking, ethical reasoning, interpersonal skills, and emotional intelligence, build general resilience for technological change and uncertainty, maintain a diverse skill set that can adapt to shifting technological landscapes. And then it ended with a sort of topical box called perspective. And it said to me, remember that AGI development will likely be gradual rather than sudden. So focus on how you might adapt to and benefit from advanced AI rather than only preparing for worst case scenarios. Consider how you might help shape AI's positive development. So that was Claude's perspective. I then asked ChatGPT, which sort of had some of the same recommendations, but also some different things. It talked about experimenting with current AI tools to understand strengths and weaknesses. But then the tone really shifted. It said AGI could disrupt industries, jobs, and societal structures rapidly, focus on developing cognitive flexibility. So actually like sort of the same thing Claude said, but with a different tone. And then it said the economy could shift dramatically, consider diversifying investments into AI related industries. And it said, have financial buffers in place in case of market turbulence. And then it ended that said, if AGI arrives in the next 2 years, society will be in for the wildest ride in history. But preparation, adaptability, and a forward thinking mindset will give you an edge. So I just thought it was, I don't know that I have like really concrete ideas other than investing in AI related industries that come out of those things. But I thought the tone difference between the 2 was really interesting.
Yeah, and sort of, like, reflects, I think, the tone difference between the founders of each company, and I don't know, I've listened to a lot of Sam Altman, and I've listened to a lot of, Dario Amodei, and, even though I think that the Anthropic team has, been focused on safety, that's, like, one of their, calling cards, Amodei does a pretty good job at identifying the positive future that, at least we'll see in terms of, scientific discovery and medicine and, some of the things that, can't come fast enough in a way. And while focusing on safety, I think he does a nice job framing it. And I feel like sometimes Sam Altman is a little bit focused on, well, I don't know, I guess we'll figure, the government will eventually figure it out, but it's all happening. A little bit like, it's coming, like it or not. And I'm always like, oh God, like remind us like why there's some good here. And you and I talk a lot about the potential good, at least in the spaces we occupy. Um, but I don't know. He feels a little bit like I think you guys will figure it out, like a little bit more nonchalant.
Total, like, pass the buck from Sam Altman, where I totally agree. I think Dario Amodei, almost, like, to the extent that I can understand his feelings through his interviews, seems to agonize a little bit with how do we maximize the good here while minimizing the harms? And I had the exact same reaction as you did. I was like, it feels like Dario Amodei and Sam Altman responded to these questions.
Yeah,
Sort of like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be wild, so prepare
yeah.
yourself.
Just buckle up. Buckle up.
Just buckle up. Thank you for tuning in to 2030 Vision, AI and the Future of Law. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. Stay informed and inspired as we continue to explore the AI-driven future of the legal profession. We'll see you next time.